morning, everyone. Janey here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to Ranunculus Day here. So I have been super excited and super into Ranunculus this year. I'm not totally sure why. I think there was one really hot day during the summer that I was inside trying to beat the heat, and I was looking up different varieties of Ranunculus that I could grow online, and I think I just fell down a wormhole. I think I was searching Ranunculus for hours. It was just really interesting to learn about all the different crazy breeders that have basically gone wild in the past century or so. There's so many different varieties and colors and shapes and sizes. So I had kind of made a list of all the varieties that I wanted to try this year, but then of course I was having trouble finding them. And I happened to run across this company out of Vermont called Fleur Farm. And I cannot say enough good things about this company. I just bought all the ranunculus that I wanted, and it came to my home and showed up like this in just the cutest packaging I've ever seen. And each one of these bags are special soaker bags. And so what she's doing is she's making it easy for you to soak your ranunculus corms before planting, because what you need to do is soak your corms about 3 to 4 hours before you plant them out into the ground. I wanted to show you all her card. I don't know this woman. I just have to say I'm really impressed with her small business. It looks like a cut flower farm and is just absolutely fantastic. And I have really high hopes for the ranunculus corms that I got from her this year. So during my hours and hours of ranunculus research, I learned that different breeding has occurred in different regions of the world, in particular Italy, France, and Japan. So of course I wanted ranunculus from Italy, ranunculus from France, and ranunculus from Japan, just so I could see the difference between all these varieties. So what I'm showing you right now are the 3 varieties of ranunculus that are from Italy. The one on the left in the cream color bag is called Elegance, and Elegance ranunculus is known for uniform shape, fuller blooms, tall stems, up to 2 feet tall stems. This is not your average ranunculus, and super high flower production. The variety that I chose for my Elegance ranunculus to try is called Rosa, which is like a bubblegum pink ranunculus. Then the 2 pink bags on the right, those are both cloney ranunculus, and cloney ranunculus are incredibly hard to find, which is why I was super excited to find Fleur Farm and find that they had cloney available to buy, and they were not out of stock, because a lot of places I was looking was out of stock. So cloney ranunculus are tissue cultivated corms. And that means that they're true to color, true to form. They're going to match the mother plant exactly, and this results in healthier plants that don't have disease and don't have viruses. So I chose 2 different kinds of cloney ranunculus. First off, I chose a pompon, and pompon ranunculus are known for layers and layers of ruffled petals that create like a globe-like bloom. It just looks so beautiful. The kind that I got from Fleur Farm is called Pompon Magic, which is kind of like a pink, burgundy, dusky rose colored. It's very vintage looking. It's really cool. The variety that I really wanted, that I had my eye on and I could not get, is called Pompon Alice. Oh my goodness, look at how gorgeous these blooms are. I could not find them anywhere, absolutely anywhere. I was about to look on like the black market if I could find the black market. So then the second kind of cloney ranunculus that I got from Fleur Farm is called a Success. It's Cloney Success. And the Success group of ranunculus is a group of Italian ranunculus that are known for, again, their large multi-layer blooms, their vibrant colors, and their long stems. If you guys hear Monty in the background, I'm really sorry. He's playing with his ball. He really wants to play. So the variety that I got of the Success group is called Cloney Hanoi, which is a really, really popular variety. It's easy to grow. It produces a large number of flowers from a single corm. It has huge flowers with layers and layers of pastel pink and white petals. And it looks so much like garden roses or peonies. And they're so pretty. As they open up, they reveal this green eye, which I just thought was absolutely gorgeous. Okay, next up, I have my French ranunculus. So the first one here on the left is called Amandine ranunculus, and this is basically the Cadillac of ranunculus. It's super well known. It has tons of colors to choose from, a great petal count, prolific bloomer, and it's more heat tolerant than the next variety I'll talk about, which is something that you need to know about French varieties because they can be a little bit more finicky than Italian varieties. They're still beautiful. You just kind of need to know. So the one on the left, the Amandine variety that I chose, is called Bonbon XL. And these are fuchsia colored blooms. So this was the absolute brightest pink variety that Fleur Farm had in the ranunculus collection. So you know I had to try it out and I had to see how it worked. The next one is called La Belle variety. And this one is, I don't know how well it's going to do for me because it's better suited for cooler climates and early season growers. So maybe because I am putting these in the ground in fall, maybe the La Belle will grow and start blooming really, really early in the season. I just have to kind of wait and see. But La Belles are known for doing great in cool weather. I chose the variety Violet, which has vibrant purple blooms bordering on fuchsia. And they say this variety is supposed to have super high winter production. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to do. They're only medium-sized blooms, but I think that if you live in a really cool area and you have to cover your ranunculus, this might just be a good one for you, a really easy one for you to deal with. Okay, the third variety is the big guy. This is bringing out the big guns. This is a new variety to the market. This was just bred about 3 years ago by a Japanese breeder company called Ingiai. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm really sorry. This is called a romance ranunculus, and this is getting a lot of the cut flower growers super excited. So this type of ranunculus is supposed to have super large flowers sitting atop of long, strong stems, and the stems are actually solid. They're not hollow. And so what this causes stronger stems in the vase, a better vase life, and then less chance of fungus or bacteria or anything like that getting into the stems. So the tall stems, they're strong, they're solid, and they're up to 2.5 feet tall, you guys, which is absolutely just crazy. So the variety that I got, it's called Romance Poodle Ramilia, and I just think it is the coolest looking bloom. Apparently, Romance ranunculus are a little bit more finicky and you have to be a little bit more careful about growing these. And as I'm looking at this and recording this voiceover right now, I realized that I did it wrong, and I'll tell you why I did it wrong later. So I hope I didn't completely screw it up. But they're basically for advanced growers, I would say. Okay, so last but not least, the next region that we have ranunculus from is Japan. Now, these are called butterfly ranunculus, and they're super unique. They have less petals, they're more open so that you can see the eye, but they have this wax coating on the petals that gives it the most interesting shine. To me, it almost looks fake, and this wax coating allows for a little bit longer of a vase life. And you can see these corms, they are much longer, they're kind of weird looking, they almost look like ghosts to me. I don't know, they're really interesting. The butterfly variety of ranunculus was developed by the son of Japanese breeder Soichi Kisano. The son's name is Suichi Kusano, and they're from that same company that bred Romance ranunculus, Aya Ingai. The variety I chose for butterfly ranunculus and to grow in my garden is called Ariadne, and it's this beautiful kind of pink color that fades to a white. It's super interesting, and I cannot wait to see it in real life. Okay, so moving on to prepping these corms, I need to soak these corms for about 3 to 4 hours in water before I plant them out. One really important thing you need to know about soaking your ranunculus corms is to not soak them over 4 hours, except if you have those romance varieties. And the romance varieties, you need to soak for about 12 hours. Now, I did not know this, and I feel silly because Fleur Farm actually sent me a piece of paper in that box that says tips for growing romance ranunculus, and I didn't read it close enough, apparently. So just remember 3 to 4 hours for most ranunculus corms, except for if you have the romance variety, and they need about 12 hours. So I'm filling all these jars up with just tap water. There's a whole bunch of really fancy ways that you can do it with kind of bubblers to keep air in the water, and you can add in different chemicals to make sure that there aren't any fungus, and you can stimulate root growth. But I just like keeping it really, really simple. I like just soaking them in regular tap water. I'll kind of swish them around with my hands a little bit just to kind of keep some air in there. And that's pretty much it. I still love the fact that these corms came in these little baggies. I just think that that makes it so easy. And if there was some way that I could label these bags, or Fleur Farm could label these bags so that you could basically soak all the bags in one bucket of water, oh my goodness, wouldn't that be so amazing? I set a timer for 3 hours and let the ranunculus soak. And in the meantime, I made up my plant labels. I had these slate plant labels from Hoselink. I've had these for a while and I wanted to use them for a very special project. And I felt like this ranunculus project was a very special project. So these are natural slate stone. They are so beautiful. So very beautiful. They have this gorgeous rustic look, and they come with or you want to pair them with a permanent marker pen from Hoselink, which I know I had somewhere. I just can't find it, but luckily I had this gold permanent marker paint pen, and I actually really like the color of the gold on the slate. I think it's really pretty, and I'll keep you all updated on how well these labels stay during the winter, but I just think they look so beautiful. So I've decided to plant my ranunculus into my Vego raised beds. I think that they all look really pretty, and I actually planted ranunculus in these beds, actually one behind this one last year, and they did so beautifully. So all I did for these beds is I topped them off with a couple inches of fresh compost, and then I had to fix the drip irrigation. This is 1/4 inch spaghetti tubing with emitters every 6 inches, which usually works for the spacing of the ranunculus. Most ranunculus you want to space about 6 inches apart, except for the romance variety, which I'm planting right here, the poodle Ramilia, and the butterfly variety. Both of those varieties you want to give a little bit more space. You want to give 12-inch spacing with those. But the other varieties, like the labelle that I'm planting right here, they can be planted 6 inches apart. So the 6-inch emitter tubing is absolutely perfect. I wanted to give you all a closer look at these corms after they've been soaking for about 3.5 hours. You can see that they have completely almost puffed up a little bit, and they're, instead of being shriveled and kind of a dark brown, they're more of a lighter brown, and they're big and they're thick. And so for ranunculus, you want to plant tentacle side down. You want to point them down and have the flat side up, and then you want to plant them about 2 inches deep. So I did have quite a few of them that were stuck together like this, probably because of how I soaked them in the bags, but they're very easy to just pull apart. You just kind of want to watch it and be very, very gentle. So I made my holes. I just did it with my fingers because this compost was so nice and so lofty. And then I just put the ranunculus into each hole. And I realized it's so much better to leave the holes open until I get all of them in, because then I can kind of keep track of where I planted them. So I think that that was the hardest thing, is just keeping track of where I planted them. So I always like to say with gardening, there's not one right way to do anything. You have to figure out your own way. And the way that I am planting my ranunculus today, I am fall planting for one thing. I am pre-soaking, but I am not pre-sprouting. So I have done videos on pre-sprouting ranunculus before, and Fleur Farm, who sold me these ranunculus, actually does recommend pre-sprouting, especially for the romance varieties. That she says that you'll have better luck. It's kind of up to you. Look into it. Since I'm in a warm zone, I'm in zone 9B, and I can fall plant my ranunculus, I feel like pre-sprouting is kind of not necessary because they have so much time to sprout over the winter season, but you can pre-sprout them. You absolutely can. Check out my video that I did on that, and I talk a lot about it, and it will be linked in the description down below. They say that if you live in USDA zones 8 and above, you should fall plant your ranunculus. If you live in USDA zones 7 and below, you should spring plant your ranunculus. And if you're going to spring plant your ranunculus, I would definitely pre-sprout, because it's just going to give your ranunculus a head start on growing. And ranunculus like cold weather. They will actually go dormant once the temperature reaches 80, 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So you want to get them out and blooming as soon as possible in the spring before it gets too warm. So if you do have to spring plant, definitely look into pre-sprouting your ranunculus. But I am just doing it the easy way today. I don't think I need to. I actually have a friend, Olivia, who never pre-sprouts her ranunculus, and hers are gorgeous every single year. So I'm cheating a little bit, but I think it's fine. So that is it. I've got my ranunculus all planted, all tucked in for the winter, and hopefully early spring I'll have some beautiful blooms to share with all of you. I will link Fleur Farm in the description down below, along with all the other things that I talked about in today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, please consider subscribing, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.